All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Monday afternoon, April 18th. Happy Tax Day. Great to see Patrick, Gary, Robert, Leda joining us right now live. Hopefully loud and clear from all of us here live. Great to see the rest of us rejoining us live inside the Cyber Group room. And hey, if you're on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, rejoining us as well, welcome on back. Great to see Alex, James, Norman, Will, and Phil and Nina, up top there, just joining us inside Cyber Group. Perfect. All right, so AGRI is on the screen to begin. Hey, it's up 25 or 24 to 25% up until just now. It was at the highs. I was trying to make a test of the highs and perhaps a break up towards 3. So, although it's pulling back right now, this AGRI trade still pretty interesting. So for right now, I'll put it on our watch list, a lot closer to the highs now compared to where it had opened up at. It's a stock that we're pretty familiar with back from, early to mid-March time. It ended up popping and running for us back then. So why not, right? Now, aside from this, though, we've had a pretty interesting day for a Monday, right? Normally you wouldn't expect for there to be a whole lot going on a Monday or a Friday. And then on top of that, like I just said, tax day. So, perhaps a drop off in the market, but otherwise, I wasn't expecting much. Neither was Fausto. But with that, between the Queso trade, between Twitter reversing, and then as well as the market entirely making a bounce going into 1 o'clock Eastern time frame, there could be a lot of things pushing upwards heading into the afternoon. So let's go right from the top, folks. We do have class today, phase 1 continuing live this afternoon at 3:05 Eastern time. We'll basically be continuing our discussion from the morning class, but talking more about actually scanning the market. Exactly what I'm doing right here. So, to start off on Queso, we'll go over this trade, but the ins and outs of scanning, why I do it, how I do it, more importantly, we will cover at least in class this afternoon. All right, Queso, this stock, I forgot up until right now. Geez, this stock, there wasn't much of a short opportunity on it from the morning, that's for sure. But, this stock has been easy to borrow on my platform throughout the entire day. So for as much as it did go up, it took a damn long time, but it ended up snapping down and could have led to a nice little short position from there. You know what? It's actually just as active right now as what it was doing from the mid to late morning. So for a stock like this that normally doesn't trade, 135 million shares, this could be easily exhausted out at this point. But if it is shortable, that could be an opportunity. And then perhaps we can keep an eye roughly around the VWAP area right off of 621. In case if it actually breaks above that, gives us, an extra chance for this to move upward. That could also be in play. So I don't mind slipping the Queso trade on the afternoon list, but it ended up making a much bigger, better move from pre-market and then, after the market opened up. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. FREQ. I didn't look at this just yet. Making a little pop now, pop from like early afternoon time frame. I don't know. The afternoon, this little push here is more compelling at this time, but let's see what else we got. Write that down if we need to get to it at the very end. ENSV. All right. So one of the energy oil stocks that we've been following back from early to mid-March as well. I know the INDO had a huge pop going into the early afternoon, albeit that it pulled back. We'll take a look on the others here. IMPP, same thing, pop and drop. We had the 9 trade, if I'm not mistaken, back from early to mid-March then, right? It's doing jack. So, for that last one right there, the ENSV, I'd be really careful of a similar move here compared to what we saw on the others. But, hey, it's still kind of hanging in there for right now. So I'll put it on the main watch list here. But again, if we continue to see a break of support, specifically off at 350 here, I would be careful. All right, AGRI already on our list. I want to jump to that Twitter trade, folks. Just give you a little clue for right now. I'm long on Twitter. I was short on Twitter until I got stopped at break even, and then I ended up flipping the script. So I want to get to that. Let's see what else we got, though, in the meantime. CVM ended up oof. This is ugly. Oh, my God. I didn't realize how much it dropped off from the initial run-up, but damn. Oof, and this stock actually is easy to borrow on my platform too, meaning that it could have been actually a great short if you were able to get the shares. But for as much as it ran up, for as much as it ran down, it's more likely now to be exhausted than anything. CYRN, It's at the highs, not doing too bad as far as, the move up. It's actually got a pretty liquid order book right now as well, only trading about 2.6 million shares today, whereas normally it trades about 5 million shares on average a day. Perhaps that could be an inflated number given the volume spikes you see on the daily chart there. But you know what? Right now, I don't mind slipping it on the tail end here, the CYRN. I could easily modify this main list here at the very end if I need to. The CEI trade, this one was from the pre-market this morning. It was flashing up towards $1, but right now it's just so flat. If you're in the market for watching wet paint dry, then this one definitely could have been for you. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. XELA cheapy. RADA. Wow, this is a $16.50 stock now. Jeez, I remember following this trade. I'm not going to bore you with the details because although it's at the highs and up big today, it's not trading a whole lot of volume for right now for us. But I ended up following this stock. This had to have been like around 2015. I don't know how I found it, but it was really cheap at the time. An Israeli defense stock. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad things happening in Palestine, right? And with that, I guess Israeli defense stock ended up leading to a huge squeeze up. I mean, really from the pandemic here, but it looks like it's approaching or at all-time highs. Nope. I'm going to stand corrected on that. You have to go all the way back to 2004. But aside from that 1 month, that's all we had there. So this is looking pretty interesting as a swing, if anything. RADA, RADA. All right, let's see what else is looking good here, folks. There's, I see a couple familiar names. Newegg, on the gainers list here, up over 9%. Not a whole lot happening just yet. And then otherwise, that's as far as I could see on the gainers list. If there's anything else, folks, that looks good, that's up, type it in the chat board. Let me know. And before I jump over to the losers list, I may as well jump to Twitter. So I ended up just clocking out on half of a position I just had on Twitter. I normally don't do a full position for those of us inside the trading room. You know what that means on such a expensive stock. And I didn't do that on Twitter right out the gate this morning. But, you end up building a cushion. You could end up, trying to, trade a little bit more shares compared to normal. And I ended up doing this on my, full position. And I ended up just scaling out just under 48 on the first leg of it. So I still have half my shares remaining. I'm currently in from 47.02 or 47.03 is my entry. Allow me to bring up Bookmap here, level 4 briefly. Twitter's up over 6%. I probably would have found it on the gainer side to begin. But right now, this stock has had a hell of a day today. I thought it was going to begin to drop off, and it started to, but it ended up making a really sharp move back up, big sling right from the 45 level. Didn't even think about coming back there to hold support or even near there. So it ended up just really beginning to push up and above the opening bell print, roughly above 46. It used that penultimately as support. Now, where I ended up getting in on my trade that I was just in before, still in. I ended up seeing right here 117,000 share buy print. This was from earlier in the afternoon at 47.07. Not only that, but I believe we ended up seeing big volume get filled early this morning in pre-market. A lot of buying, we'll call it, roughly off of 47.03 here. So heading into the early afternoon, I ended up jumping into this trade when it ended up beginning to break back above the 47 level, pretty much right here. It can be easy to say in hindsight, but it's not always the case. It's not always the case where you jump in and it's perfection right out the get-go. That's what we strive for as traders. But on this one in particular, once it ended up re-breaking above 47 and specifically 47.07 here, it ended up doing a great job pushing up nicely, made the slingshot up towards 48. Now, on my main chart, if I'm not mistaken, this is not my main chart, my main account, but my main chart, I ended up having, if I'm not mistaken, I could even try and do a little paste action here. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, I worked some fib levels earlier today on Twitter, but I may have deleted the other lines that I had up. I ended up having a resistance on Twitter. It had to have been back from, if not Friday or Thursday's open, because we were off on Friday, then it had to have been from here. But I think it was from Thursday morning to where we ended up seeing, Yeah, right around that listed open price. I think technically my price is at 48.22. We had a huge print from the market open from Thursday morning, so I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens specifically if it could break above 48 coming up here and hit 48.22. But yeah, Twitter, how can we not, right? At the highs here and just looking great. All right, I'll keep track of my position. I'm in good standing here, at least after getting out on the first half. All right, let's hop on over to the loser side, though. For right now, we have the NKTR trade near the top of the losers list. It is shortable, so that's the first thing I wanted to click on. It's actually still pretty tradable, making a higher low and trying to make another move back up, perhaps another DCB, dead cat bounce heading into the afternoon. It ended up doing most of that from the morning after it bottomed out, but ended up running up pretty nicely from like 380-ish upwards towards just now where it topped off, or just before at 455. So hell of a move, really nice, dead cat bounce. We ended up seeing the shorts temporarily cover after such a big drop off this morning. The only thing that doesn't lead me to follow this as much would just be simply the fact that we ended up seeing the stock trade a lot of volume today. And I mean, I guess it does trade 3.7 million on average. So it's not really too excessive compared to even some of the others that we're watching. I'll come back to this at the tail end. If it was more closer to the lows and dropping off still, I'd feel a lot better about this move. I just feel for as much as it already moved up, from the bad news it had, how much more could it continue to go? I guess maybe up to 6, but I doubt it. TGTX, speaking of another dead cat bounce here, ended up making a nice pop, very similar to NKTR shortly after the open here from roughly 550 upwards towards 720. So nice move there. I think the 550 was from around pre-market hours, but after the market opened, it only continued to push from that point. But also tradable like the NKTR. It's trading a lot of volume per minute, good order book. It is shortable, so if it does pull back, then that could be an interesting little play. But I don't really have a great need to put this on our watch list right now. Again, similar to NKTR, if this was at the lows, I'd feel a lot better. I just don't expect for it to push up a lot more from this point. Didi is a lot closer to the lows compared to the other two, but again, wet paint drying here, folks. All right, let's see what else we got. This is not wet paint drying. VERU has been, just really a big mover over the last week for us. So how can we not at least check this out? So, hey, if you can get the shares to short Veru, then I would definitely put it on your watch list. And not only for those of us that can short it. I mean, it's hard to borrow on my platform here, and I haven't, checked to see if I can get the shares yet. But it's actually at a pretty significant support right now. So, either way, this actually could still just be tradable. I like this more compared to the others so far. The Veru, why not? If it does keep breaking down though from here, you would have to assume $12 to be the next major level on this trade. I did not prep this chart up like I did my Twitter or the others here. So, all right, MRSN. The stock is easy to borrow, shortable. It's actually at the lows, so I really like that part. For as much as it moved up from Wednesday into Thursday, sure crapped out today. Jeez. There is one reason that I don't like it, and it's the fact that it's just not really trading a whole lot of volume per minute. It's trading about like a little under 2,000 shares a minute. That number will continue to drop off if this doesn't really begin to trade a lot more volume coming up here. So, it's right where we want it to be on the chart. But if we're following the big money, if that's our whole motto here at Cyber Trading University, well, if there's not really any big money to follow on this trade, or at least from morning until now, then I'd rather follow some other stocks then. LABU ETF, ALDX, not trading enough volume. Data, yeah, not much happening there. All right, folks, that's all I got for you so far across the gainers and losers lists. I'm sure there could be more that's down technically, so I'll do a quick rummage through. But if there's anything else that looks really good and perhaps in particular on the way up, then let me know. Type it in the chat board. go to the Cyber Group room here first today from Ricardo. ENSV already on our list. ENSV is already on our list. Not looking great, if we're being honest, actually. So I'm not going to yank it from the list just yet, but definitely not looking as good, even compared to where it was, when we first checked it out. That's all I got from the trading room so far. What news caused this market pop? Asks Craig on YouTube. Great question. I don't have that answer in particular. I follow a couple of macro based investors or traders as a whole on Twitter. And they were actually pretty bullish from last week, into this week. Perhaps just the fact that today's tax day, the last day of major sell-off. Perhaps, if you follow that, general rule of thumb, you might think that if the sell-off is done for tax season, then perhaps you can get a nice, squeeze back up in the market. But that's the only thing I'm kind of thinking of right now. Karen says mask mandate dumped in Florida on planes and transits, maybe. So, perhaps some optimism regarding that. Yeah, perhaps, that could be it as well. And then Dan saying the NEXT trade from YouTube. Hey, it's down big. It's trading a little bit more volume compared to whatever the hell that was before the MRSN trade. And we did trade it from the last week or so. So we're a little familiar with this one. All right. I'll bite. And then PHIO from Bobby. Yeah, if you didn't go over it already from YouTube. It's looking good and looking pretty interesting for right now. But again, look what happened to PHIO back from last week. Yeah, it popped up and had a hell of a move up, but it sure came back down, pretty quickly. And I feel like this stock has done that to us quite a number of times over the years, not even over the past year, but years. So for right now, yeah, I'll put it on our list here for right now. Not bad, Bobby. All right, back to the side list here before we wrap up the FREQ. Meh. Not a whole lot happening there, especially after we left off from it. I think it only dropped off from that point. And then the NKTR is breaking higher here. NKTR, beginning to squeeze up a little bit, showing a little strength. So, you know what? Why not? Why not for the NKTR here? AMC turning over. There we go, Jeff. I knew you weren't missing out on AMC. I'll be honest, Jeff, if you're interested in watching wet paint dry, this is the one for you. You got to move on to other trades, Jeff. You've been following this every day for the last year and a half. Now, it's provided opportunities, and I love AMC. I love Neo, but I'm not interested in Neo today because there's way better stocks for us to follow. Opportunity cost. So, if you want to learn more about that, then you got to join us in class. That's actually our, conversation coming up this afternoon in terms of scanning the market. It's actually a nice segue I kind of used there. All right, so folks, for all of us on Facebook Live, or for all of us in the Cyber Group room first, I might say, I know that Rich just posted the link for class, Phase 1, Lesson 2, lining up this afternoon at 3:05 Eastern Time, just about 15 minutes. I look forward to seeing most of us there. Just click the link just to get in early. I think that the emails have had a bit of an issue from this morning. So if you're looking to join us inside a class, just go to the link that Rich just posted inside the trading room. And then on YouTube or Facebook Live, a couple of housekeeping notes. As always, if you wanted to join us live inside our trading room, you could do that. Just first, if anything, just go right down to this link on the banner below that you can see right there. cybertradinguniversity.com/trial to join us across this week. However, though, I know that Fausto will be presenting live in a webinar tomorrow afternoon. So there's the little transition in the banner below there for all of us on social media. If you wanted to listen to Fausto's webinar tomorrow, hear from the man himself, then just register by going right down to that link right on the banner below, go.cybertradinguniversity.com/free-class. And then from that point, you'll at least be able to receive the recording, even if you're not able to attend us live. All right, but for all of us there, otherwise, if you're interested, just feel free to send over a quick email on top, josh@ctutrading.com. For Leda, Nina, Robert, Grant, and all of us joining us in class. I look forward to seeing you there. Talk to you soon.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9.